According to newspaper reports in England, Henrikh Mkhitaryan's time at Old Trafford is over. Him and Jose Mourinho had a big falling out. Mark Ogden reporting about this over on ESPNFC.com. Went into more details. Apparently, it was a row after a video session in which Mourinho called out Mkhitaryan in front of the team, saying that he didn't track back, a couple of defensive errors. Mkhitaryan didn't take it very well. A big argument ensued, and since then he has been out of the squad. This looks like it's it for a man who started the season well. Yeah. First five games, 5 assists, 1 goal. Since then, of course, it's all gone wrong.
Yeah, it's a pity this season doesn't last 5 games, isn't it?
That'll be all right.
Henrikh will be all right. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where I am in these video sessions and calling them your teammates out in front of.
Did you have them in your day?
Yeah, well. Yeah, we had videos in that day, in those days.
Black and white.
We had the odd videos. I remember at Chelsea, Henrikh calling out a goalkeeper, my good friend Kevin Hitchcock, and it was in front of everybody. And he'd clearly made a mistake in the previous game. And Henrikh kept rewinding this video, and Hitchy, my mate, was the steam were coming out his ears. So I kind of understand it, but I think, to be honest with you, I think this is just another stick to beat him with. Right. I think the path is clear for me that he's on his way out at Old Trafford, and some of the reports are saying it's to allow more space, to allow potentially Mesut Ozil coming in.
Now here's the thing, Shaq. You take a look at players that have left Mourinho in the past, Kevin De Bruyne, Salah as well. They have come back and really rather bitten him in the bottom, if you like.
Yeah.
Could Mkhitaryan do the same?
Yeah, he could. I mean, Mkhitaryan has shown, when he's given the opportunity, that he's a good football player and can grease many a team. You saw that earlier this season. You just need somebody to have that faith in him. So no question Mkhitaryan can come back and do that. But for me, and I consider what Craig's saying, I know exactly where I stand on this. This is on Mkhitaryan. We criticise Jose Mourinho when he comes out and publicly criticise likes of Shaw, etc. That's not the place to do it. Behind closed doors at a video session, I have no problem with the manager calling out a player at that instance. Now, if the player takes offence to that and reacts improperly and somehow finds himself on the sidelines, then that's on the player.
Really?
For me, that's on the player. So Alex Ferguson called out many a player and saw many a player leave the exit door after falling out. That for me is not the issue.
Which leads me to believe that there is more to this than what we know. That it's not just this one single event. I think there are things that have been leading up to this. And it's surprising because a couple months ago or so, Mkhitaryan came out in interviews and was talking about how positive the influence of Jose Mourinho was in his career and how there was a good relationship and how he was looking forward to delivering for him on the field and all these things. And everything started off so well. And I think it just goes to a very basic concept. You're not playing well, you get taken off, you're unhappy, and in the end, all those things at some point, they resurface. And when they resurface, usually it's looking for reasons to leave the situation that you're not happy with.
Gab?
Well, I take you back to last year, obviously, when there had this whole goings on with, you know, he comes over, he plays, then he disappears, then supposedly he's injured, then he gets rushed back from injury in the Manchester derby, plays very bad, then he disappears again. I think this has been a very frustrating time from Mkhitaryan's angle in terms of trying to establish a relationship with Mourinho. And I think this incident here, you know, was the kind of thing that just kind of drove him over the edge a little bit. And yeah, and I think we're seeing perhaps a slightly more vindictive side for Mourinho, or maybe a more practical one where, you know, he figures that maybe I don't need this guy right now.
Right, we asked Gab then to put together the best 11 of the combined Spurs and City squads. 4 Spurs players making in, no room for Raheem Sterling.
Yeah, so when you think Dele Alli and the way that he's been playing this year, if we're talking about the best players available at this point in the way that they're playing, I don't think there's any question that Raheem Sterling has been superior to Dele Alli. Dele Alli is a tremendous talent, but he has not had a good season. I would not have him on this team.
Defend your choice, Gab.
I think Dele Alli's incredibly inconsistent. I take your point. It's very, very close, but I think Dele Alli, even bad Dele Alli, you know, has the ability to be great greater than Raheem Sterling. So that's why I went for him. And I know somebody's now going to give me a hard time over Fabian Delph as well, right?
No. No, you've kind of preempted this.
Did you see him against United, Gab?
Oh, yeah, no, I did. But look, the way I see it is Rose has come back. Obviously, if Mendy were fit, it would be Mendy, right? But we're limiting ourselves to guys who are fit for this game, which is also why Stones and Alderweireld aren't there, incidentally, before people get on my back. But
very
in my
defensive
opinion,
today.
the way Delph has the way Delph has played, especially off the ball, I think it's been extremely consistent this season. And sure, Rose is better going forward, Davies is better going forward, but let's not forget those guys have rotated in and out a lot this season. Rose was injured earlier in the year, so for me, I went for Delph because I like him more than Danny Rose. So
I tell you what, if Davis and Rose are better than Delph going forward, fine. But if Delph is better than them defensively, they've got a big issue.
Yeah,
big issue. Because we just like Gab picking these teams, don't we? So that we can just pick
Kane over Aguero. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I mean, it's not a lot to choose between the two.
We're about at the halfway point of the Premier League season, so we thought we'd give Gab Marcotti the opportunity to give us his best 11, not of this campaign, but just in total when it comes to Premier League players in their respective positions. This is what he has gone for, ladies and gentlemen. Gab, do you want to justify it first?
Yeah, well, I'm going to kind of shield myself because I know which players I think I'll get criticized for the most, I imagine. I think Eric Bailly is a phenomenal defender, a one-on-one defender. If I could have had Azpilicueta at right back, I probably would have, but otherwise I'll take Walker. Mohamed Salah has been so good, I think it's difficult to leave him out, but you can certainly make a case for other players. And finally, I know I'll get stick for Pogba from some, but I think the guy is really, 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 really talented and athletic, and it's just very good.
I'm not picking up a lot of hostility here.
Well, I would. One of the things, I think Alderweireld.
Yep.
That would help.
Potentially over Stones.
How do you leave David Silva out of that team?
Who would you have him in place of?
Well, I would have David right now. Would have David Silva over Pogba.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now. And I guess that's what we're talking about. So, I mean, David Silva's having a tremendous season. So he even Salah, take out Salah, put David Silva, have him playing on the outside, and then just drift in underneath the strikers. Keep Pogba, his athleticism. I like my team.
Yeah, that's it. I'm glad you do.
I like my team.
Shaq?
I agree with Gab 100%.
Wow.
Yes.
Look at that. I like that. Okay, so let's just focus in now. You've got all those players lined up against the wall for your team. Who's your first pick? Who are you picking first?
That team.
Yes. Well, look, you got all the Premier League players, if you like,
I
lined
thought
up
you
against
just
the wall.
meant just Gab's team.
No, well, you can choose if there's someone in the team that you don't particularly.
One player.
One player. Who is your first pick?
My first pick.
Your first draft pick.
Right.
Wow.
This is pausing. I'm pausing.
Yeah.
De Bruyne.
De Bruyne?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why to think so hard about it. I got De Bruyne.
Because I was thinking. I'll tell you why I was thinking David Silva. Because he's been so influential. That's why I was.
Hat trick.
Yeah?
Kevin De Bruyne. Yeah.
See, I just
Right
went
now.
away. That was all. I was.
Well, that's all right. Gab,
But
quickly.
you thought about it the most. That's what it is.
I might go for Conte simply because there's other good attacking midfielders out there. Conte's pretty unique in my opinion.
Go contrary.
I didn't have to think about it because, as Ali said, David Silva is just year in, year out, week in, week out. It's just.
Yeah.
To hear some love as well.
Oh, you'd have to
Here's
play
my
it?
second pick.
Oh, yeah, of course he would.
Thank you, Shaq.
All right, then. Thank you, boys. Welcome into Extra Time. Thank you for your questions. Would you like a tale before I go to the questions?
Sure, go ahead.
People who are familiar with iPhones know that you can pay for things using your Touch ID, which means, of course, you just press your thumb on the home button. Craig thought you pressed the actual red bit where it says tell you to do Touch ID and therefore hasn't been able to use Uber for the last month.
Well, no, it's not your thumb. I don't use my thumb.
What do you use?
Fingerprint. It's not called a thumbprint, it's a fingerprint.
But what do you use to unlock your phone?
Right, I use the Touch ID.
Yes, which is your thumb.
No,
You don't use your thumb?
no.
What do you do like this? That's weird. That is weird.
I do my
I've
finger.
never heard anyone use that.
So I did my finger, but I was pressing the... because it came up, must be my settings are set for certain apps, and it was Touch ID rather than the PIN code.
Yes. And where were you touching?
The little red thing that came up. And I was like, going, this... And then today, now this is a very Steve Nichol thing.
That's not a category you want to be in.
I thought today, what was I trying to get on? I was trying to download an app, but it wouldn't let me because of this bloody touch thing. And I was like, why is it not doing it? Why is it? Jesus! And then I touched the home button.
Yeah.
And it it's amazing.
I'm intrigued that you use your finger, not your thumb.
Oh.
Do you thumb, Shaq? Or do you finger?
I use the thumb.
What app were you downloading?
I was actually Gripple.
What were you buying?
Something cheap for the wife.
Christmas, Cheryl.
that I haven't found yet. Why is it weird finger, not thumb?
Well, because it's just more natural with your thumb, surely.
Yeah.
Somebody might have the same thumb as me, I don't know.
No, you are unique.
See, I admitted that though. To you.
Yes, you did.
Trying to hide it. It was a genuine mistake. I've used keypads all my life. I'm not used to this fingerprint nonsense.
Right, good. Can someone be
Do you
called
like these chairs? Do you like these chairs better than the sofa?
Better than the sofa.
I miss a desk.
Why?
This is a bit cumbersome with all my information.
The desk. I thought the desk was quite nice, but apparently there's a technical issue.
Right,
with the
okay.
desk.
Okay, can someone be called the best manager when he has near unlimited budget and can almost cherry-pick players for his team? How much do you agree with Arsene Wenger? The old Pep debate.
Listen, I'm trying to think back, but you know, I know Ferguson built a lot of great teams at United, but didn't he cherry-pick
Yep.
Yep.
Van Nistelrooy and,
Sure.
and Stam and Keane and Dimitar Berbatov was almost getting in the Man City training
Yep.
ground.
Andy Cole.
Dale Dunn and he pulled him out. Andy Cole. Big clubs, that's what they do.
Big clubs spend a lot of money, regardless of who we're talking about or what league or what not. And as Craig points out, Manchester United floated on the stock market, had more money than anybody else in the Premier League. Nobody holds that against Alex Ferguson, and nor should they. I don't see why we're doing the same with Pep now.
Oh. What they said.
Gab, do you want to add to this? Use your thumb or your finger?
I use the PIN code. Sorry, I'm old school about that. I always worry, what if something happens and like I lose the digits on my hand and I'll never be able to get my phone and call for help, right?
You go home and start jumping.
Well, then you can use the PIN code.
Yeah, there's a
You
double.
don't have to use your fingerprint.
You could just use the end of your nose on your pin code if you can get it down.
I did.
Gab's tied up in his basement.
I was under the impression that it was one or the other.
Are you going
But
places that
to
you
answer,
may lose your fingers?
You never know, Craig. I live in the big city. I don't live out in the fancy suburbs like you do. I live in the mean streets.
How are you going to write
of
a
West London.
Come on, Tommy, don't start.
With your Brooklyn accent.
Yes.
live in the box?
Mid-Atlantic accent. Mid-Atlantic.
I tell you what, you could still bash out 1,000 words Monday
notes?
musings in about half hour with no fingers, I reckon.
Okay, are De Bruyne and Silva the Xavi and Iniesta of Pep's Man City team on their current form? Al?
Yeah. I don't know if it's by design, and I don't know that we would have expected Kevin De Bruyne to take the leap in his game that he has taken, but he has put himself right there in the discussion of some of the best players in the world, not at the, obviously not that of Ronaldo, Messi, but then in a tier below where he's really taken his game to a different level. We've always known about David Silva, not always appreciated, but certainly has been an outstanding player for many years now.
He's been storming. In the aftermath of Marco Silva hype, Everton and Watford are level on points. Your thoughts?
Yeah, they've slipped recently for sure.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, can't argue with that. They've had a bad run. Just doesn't make them a terrible manager, does it? But they've had a bad run. Watford of late.
Final question is the Gav. Can you have Marcotti read football stories to us daily? His grandkids. Wow. I don't think you're a grandfather,
What?
are you, Gav? What?
My grandkids. Goodness me. I take offense to that. My grandkids.
Can you imagine anyone old enough on this panel to have grandkids? His grandkids must be very lucky. Yesterday's Donnarumma story on the show was truly epic.
Oh, wow.
I didn't hear this story.
Well, it had that mid-Atlantic accent.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Was it dramatic?
Why was he crying, Gab? I've not read up on this.
Oh, no. Don't get him started.
That was leaf clearing.
Don't do it.
He was crying because the fans said that, look, if the fans basically told him to leave the club if he was unhappy with making the equivalent of £180,000 a week and a job for his, quote, parasite brother.
Oh dear.
Wow.
So your
grandkids shouldn't be too excited about that.
Okay.
Doing that.
I believe that is it. That is the end of today's show. We'll be back.
Couldn't get some rest.
Please.
You need
And
some
medicine.
rest.
Yes.
Getting a
And
second win now.
You need some tunes. Remember them? Did you get tunes over here in the States?
What? Then what are you asking me for?
Well, you've been here longer than me. You'd know if you get tunes. They help you
It's a
cough. Lozenges. What are they? Lozenges. Lozenges. Whatever
You
they
say
are.
lozenge or lozenge?
I don't know. I'm just making it up.
Okay. I was having this discussion with my wife and kids.
oh, wow.
Whether it's lozenge or lozenge.
Have you got any lodgings? No. Okay.
You should get a steamy water and get a towel over your head and get in the water. And then breathe in.
You're
Breathe
gonna
in.
rub some Vic on my chest.
Oh, no. That's a hairy
Wrap
chest.
this up, wrap this up. This is cool.
That is a sweater.
Lozenge.
That's a sweater.
It's a lozenge.
It's a lozenge. What?
You're gonna.
Thanks, Dad.
You're gonna.
Goodness
you're
me.
Thanks, Granddad.
The old
You can always count on Granddad. Yeah, you can always count on him. Yeah, you can always count on him.
Wise head.
A lozenge.
Long shoulders.
cough sweet. There you go. Cough sweet.
ESPN FC is back on Sunday. I'll be raring to go. Midnight Eastern on ESPN2.
Me too.
In case you haven't checked it out yet, be sure to look at our Star Wars The Last Jedi, our style Best 11, the best young generation of footballers rated over on the website. From the youngsters to the slightly older generation, it's time for Best of the Week.
Brooklyn accent? Me? Moi?
Your accent's more like Borat. Nice. Nice. Very nice. Nice.
How's it go?
Nice.
Get you mash.
Go lucky. You know, David Moyes.
You're not supposed to put your hands on the opponent's back, Gab. It's in the rules. That's the way the game
You're not
is.
supposed to fall over when somebody touches you.
Oh, shush.
He's good in the Europa League, Stephen.
Well, there's something to be said for being good in Europe.
It's not Europe, it's the Europa League.
Well, it's in Europe, isn't it?
He's playing. It's not that he's playing in a different country.
Europe's not a country.
What's he talking about?
So he'll end up in Europe, which is outside
Where's he
of
going to
Great
go?
Britain. Guess what? Great Britain's not in Europe anymore.
I don't think it's official.
So are they in Europe or not?
Yes, they're in Europe.
No, they're not.
Of course they are.
They voted to get out.
There won't be a whole new continent that's dedicated
Look.
to Great Britain.
I can't see Gab anymore.
Glasses are up.
Did he hear me there? Serious? Are you going a bit deaf when you're old age?
Meanwhile, Steve Nichols' birthday this week, ladies and gentlemen.
Look at that mean, lean fighting machine.
Look at what's happened on the left one.
The one that was first thing in the morning.
Sheffield Wednesday,
Legs had gone by then.
Doncaster.
The legs had definitely gone by then.
Steve was one of my players when I was growing up.
All right, Sid, don't cry
Hey,
about
that's
it.
the type of guy Sid is.
Oh,
It's amazing how he became the Grim Reaper.
I suppose his looks as well didn't help. His resting faces that just looks angry and kind of
What are you
miserable.
talking about?
I don't remember when David Moyes come on our show for a segment, you saying, David, you just don't have the looks. You're not the manager anymore. And you played for Southampton as well.
Yeah, he would say when I was there.
4 games on. Yeah.
You were there when he was. And what position were you? magazine man.
I regret that comment.
I just didn't want you to look silly.
Well, too late. You've made yourself look silly. Steve Nicol.
They should just
Every week. Every week is Steve Nicol week.
And you think he's like trying, but he's not.
No, this is him. This is who he is.
Just generally
Just him.
gormless. It's a very natural gormlessness.
It is just some.
What about the big word they come up with? Was it last week? Visualisation.
Yes. Yeah, no idea where he was
He's
going.
proud of that.
He's proud because it is a word, apparently, but he had no idea it was a word.
No way.
Not a clue.
No way he knew that at all.